I'd also like to thank the sponsors who have been so generous in their support of tonight's event. The honor roll sponsors can be found in your program. Your significant contributions to tonight's celebration are really an investment in our community's youth. Through your generosity, we have raised over $250,000 to support underserved youth, which makes this dinner the most successful fundraising event in the history of the council. But hold on, we're not finished with our goal to raise $300,000 to honor Carol and Bob. I'll have some exciting news to share later in the program that will help us get closer to reach this goal. Ted, in the radio world, that's called a tease, I think, so stay tuned. Finally, I'd like to ask all members of the Council Executive Board to please stand to be recognized. All right. Without your engaged and passionate leadership, we would not be able to fulfill our mission to provide quality character education programs to the youth of the peninsula. Thank you for your commitment to the Scouting program. During tonight's dinner, Scouts and board members will be sharing our appreciation for your participation in our event. Please enjoy your dinner. We'll continue with the program in a short while.
We hope you've enjoyed dinner. This crew here has done a great job of making sure everybody's been served promptly and properly, and we thank them for that. They're a great job. We hope you enjoyed dinner. Now, I have to fess up. I stole this. Bob wanted beans and weenies for dinner in the true campfire spirit. And so Bob was pushing this idea. I took the beans. This is my dinner tonight, Bob. I just want you to know I'm taking this home with me. Good idea. Well, I hope you enjoyed Surf and Turf instead. It was an awfully great choice. And by the way, our special honorees are being recognized tonight. A special dessert, s'mores, which is a Carol favorite treat. So, you know, we're going to have some people that have a chance to talk who've known Bob and Carol a long time. And I'm sure many of you in this room have been touched by them tonight. When you read, and I hope they hear this, but when you read, there's Carol, when you read about Carol, and you read about all the achievements in her incredible life, there's two words that you see all the time. First woman. First woman this, first woman that. Amazing achievements. And that's exactly right. That's something that we honor. First woman. What a role model for your family, for your granddaughters, for young women going forward. There was a book that I just heard about that's just come out, A Matter of Simple Justice, and there are 3 pictures of Carol in this book, 2 with Richard Nixon as president. First administration, Nixon administration, to bring women aboard, and Carol was part of that. Bob, I most admire Bob because he had the intelligence to marry a much younger woman. Well done, Bob. Very smart. And I first met Bob when I was still broadcasting Stanford games. And like almost everybody in this room, once you get inside the field of Bob, you cannot resist the force. And Bob had this incredible idea about promoting sportsmanship, something that sounds so logical, yet in our world of athletics today with the layers of bureaucracy can be so difficult to pull off. And Bob did. Bob did. And it got all the way to John Hennessy at Stanford, and he got it done. And I'll never forget the first game in the new Stanford Stadium when the Stanford players at the end of the game went over in front of the student body and the band and the alums and celebrated as a Stanford family. I'll never forget that sight because spirit for a lot of years at Stanford back then was hard to find. Football was not doing very well, and there wasn't a lot of spirit. And Bob tapped into that. You made that happen. And this year, because of Bob's incredible service to our country through his time at the Naval Academy, all 5 service academies will celebrate Bob's vision of sportsmanship around Veterans Day this year, at their games around Veterans Day, and that deserves a huge hand. And the passion of both Carol and Bob for what they've done is why they're being honored tonight, deservedly so. And of course, they'll also talk a little bit about their scouting experiences, something I wasn't fortunate enough to share, and I'll just quickly say I have 3 nephews in Chicago that were Eagle Scouts. And I have had them sit around me and teach me how to make a campfire in the wilds of northern Michigan because I was a city kid and was never exposed to scouting, and it was my loss. So for all of you adults who've exposed kids, whether as parents or as scout leaders, troop leaders, good for you for making sure that kids get exposed to scouting, all the great lessons that they learn. All right, now let's get to the important speakers. Let's first introduce an exceptional community and scouting leader. Darren Chan is currently a resident faculty member at the Boys Dorm and a humanities teacher at Eastside Prep in East Palo Alto. He's an Eagle Scout, serves as Scoutmaster of Troop 1, which is a Pacific Skyline Council Scout Reach troop sponsored by the school. And Darren is going to share his thoughts on the collaborative partnership between Scouting and this great school, Eastside College Prep. So please welcome Darren Chan.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you and congratulations again to Bob and Carol for your service and leadership in the community and to Scouting. You certainly have a lot of generous friends saluting you here tonight. It's my honor tonight to speak on behalf of the Scout Reach program and on behalf of the 20 Scouts that have found themselves at different tables today here. And hopefully you all have had a chance to meet with some of them. And they've had a chance to share a little bit about what they've learned through Scouting in the last year and a half our program has been around. I'd like to take just a couple minutes to share about what Scouting has meant for me growing up and why I'm still a part of Scouting today and why it's been such a privilege to work with these young men in my current capacity as a Scoutmaster at Troop 1 at Eastside Prep. Then it will be my greater privilege to introduce our former Senior Patrol Leader. He's our current new Scout Patrol Leader, Joseph Thornton, who will share some thoughts about his experience as a Scout so far. So growing up, I'm not sure if we got this first photo up, but growing up, that's me on the left, and that's my brother Johan that's me on the right, the shorter of the two, and my older brother Johan. We're 18 months apart, and we grew up with Scouting. My dad always thought that it was really important that we grew up with values, that we grew up with discipline. And as I progressed through Scouting, I saw how it influenced my brother. And I began to see the program as more than just monthly opportunities for high adventure. I began to see how the elements of the Scout law and the Scout oath became manifest in my life, whether it was honoring the Lord through the decisions that I made, or whether it was choosing a school, a high school that valued community service, or even today becoming a teacher. Scouting has always been something that's led that decision-making process. And although my Scouting career was highlighted by campouts and backpacking trips and summer camp, what I appreciated most, and this is my brother and I when we celebrated our Eagle Scout Court of Honor with my pastor, was graduating, and yeah, thank you. During my senior year of high school, I attained the rank of Eagle Scout, and to this day, this is one of my proudest moments. However, as much as I love Scouting, I would have never imagined being a part of Scouting again so soon. After graduating from Stanford in 2006, I was blessed to join the staff at Eastside College Prep in East Palo Alto as a sophomore and senior humanities teacher. And I was drawn to Eastside. For 2 reasons. One, their mission to serve historically underrepresented minorities in higher education, and 2, their incredible success rate in sending 100% of our students, our graduating students, to 4-year universities. So for the 20 years prior to Eastside opening, East Palo Alto did not have a high school that served the students in the local community. So for those 20 years, the youth of East Palo Alto were bused to local schools, local public schools, where often they would get lost and they would fall through the cracks. And to this day, the dropout rate in East Palo Alto amongst the youth is 65%. So in 1996, our principal, Chris Bischoff, and vice principal Helen Kim founded Eastside with the goal of addressing this concern and preparing these students for not only graduating from high school, but attending a four-year university and graduating from university. So in addition to the rigorous college prep curriculum, our school emphasizes the development of specific character traits that empower students to excel in college and beyond. These traits of integrity, perseverance, respect, gratitude, and service to school and community. So in 2007, just a year after I graduated, Eastside opened the boarding program. We expanded into a boarding school, and with the express purpose of providing a living and learning environment for all of our students. The vision was to offer the students more than just a great college prep curriculum and great college prep education, but also a residential life program enriched by character education that extended beyond the 8 to 5 school day. And so if you guys are wondering, that was not a typo. 8 to 5, all of our students are in school 8 to 5 every day. In the first year, it became clear that the dorms were more than just a place to study and sleep, but rather a home where we have become a family. And much like my father wanted to instill those same values in me growing up, this opportunity to work with these boys at this age during these formative years, I could see no better thing than to do the same, instill those same values for the boys in the dorms. And shortly after this kind of fell upon the principal and myself, I had the chance to meet Lori McClellan, who's sitting here at the front table, an executive board member of the council and a longtime Eastside supporter. And he encouraged me to connect with the Scout Reach Committee. And after several meetings with the leadership, it dawned on me that the solution to our character education piece was right in front of us. Scouting was the perfect avenue, the perfect medium to teach character education to young men. And so in January 2011, Eastside became the charter partner sponsoring Troop 1. And so in this next picture, you'll see this is our first crew of boys from last year at Camp Algedo. And since day one, the boys have fully embraced scouting. They've always been intrigued by the activities and enamored by the outdoors. And there really is no better way for them to discover their talents and the hidden leader inside each one of them. So now they are the ones leading the school. And today is a great example. They knew that after school, right when school got out at 5, that we need to book it here in time for the dinner. And so they, as a group of 20 scouts, decided last night, let's get dressed and go to school in our Class A uniforms. And this isn't out of character. This is something that, this is something. And I remember as a young scout, when I was doing Boy Scouts, you know, as much as I love scouting, I wouldn't wear my Class A uniform to school. And these guys have really owned it, and they've seen it as something that's really a part of their identity as young men today. And so since the troop's inception, we've seen our current veteran scouts advance to the rank of first class in the year and a half that our troop's been open. And by mid-May, our group of veteran scouts, they will be Star Scouts. And the new boys that have joined the boarding community, they've seen the fun and they've seen the camaraderie that these older scouts experience. And we doubled the size of our troop in 1 year. And so we have 10 new scouts that are here amongst the tables. And by June, they joined us in January. By our Court of Honor, May 11th, they will all be second-class scouts.